is the social distancing. And but beyond this social distancing, when we look at the kind of houses that we live, you know, we have a number of these residents that it might be a bit difficult to attain the expected social distancing. And that's why we have a town planner in the house that will be, together we shall be looking at COVID-19 and town planning. We have town planner Ogunwole Adebayo here. He's a consultant, and the next couple of minutes we shall be looking at town planning vis-a-vis COVID-19, social distancing, and the rest. Moses, you want to fire the first salvo?
Welcome to the program. I'm town planner Ogunwole Adebayo.
Good morning to you all.
COVID-19 and town planning, you know, one could say, what's the correlation? But looking at it, giving it a second look, one could say, well, especially when you're talking about social distancing, to achieve an effective social distancing, one needs an environment that is not, you know, congested. But we all know that one of the problems, you know, facing this nation is, you know, congestion. A building that should house maybe 10 people, you can have like 30, you know, 40 people. So, but let me hear from you quickly. Can you come up with your own correlation with this?
I'll say good morning to you all. When we talk about town planning entails a lot of things. Before planning, something that exists on ground. When we look at social distances, it's talking about building planning standard, which will require us to, before you can build or erect any structure, you have to maintain some minimum requirements, which we can refer to as social distance. What is COVID-19? We have been hearing about COVID-19. It's a virus. When we look at 100 years ago, we have something like pandemic before. Pandemic, 100 years ago. How would they have been solved the problem? They solved the problem due to the same measurement we are putting in place now. In respect to town planning, the social distances is part of our planning standard. When you look around us now, you see a lot of structures being erected because of the fact that people are locked down. You see a lot of them springing up now. They are not maintaining this standard of social that we can refer to as social distance too. So I'm advising the public now to please desist from this act, because they are not doing what the NDC asked them to do. Social distances is the same thing as setback. What is the minimum setback for the building you are constructing because of the lockdown? These are illegal structures that needs to stop for now.
Okay, now if you are talking about the ones that are possibly just coming up, what about those ones that have been in existence? For instance, when you look at most of our older towns, towns with some history, the core parts of most of our towns and cities, they have cluster of houses built joining each other like that, and most of the time that's where we have the concentration of population. I'm not too sure whether within a short time they could go and get accommodation, build houses that would meet the standard we're talking about. How do we manage situations like this?
There is something they called reform urban planning. Before, the aspect of planning is in 3 phases: before planning and before development, during development, and after development. We cannot but set out what they call the history of a city, which means we have what they call urban renewal program. So this state government will go into what they call urban renewal to put in place some measures to eradicate this slum. We call them SPLO, we call them urban renewal, to eradicate this community that are congested in relationship to COVID-19. And there are some measures to put in place. The number one is reformed urban planning. You cite some facilities. We have to place some facilities in a distance whereby the inhabitants will have easy accessibility to them. That is, you are discongesting the populated environment. Look at the previous government.
Sorry,
Okay.
are you saying that such buildings will be pulled down to allow for new ones that will comply with this standard you're talking about?
Very good. There are a lot of concepts to put in place. There's what they call rehabilitation. Rehabilitation in what sense? When you look at a structure that has been existing for like 100 years, and this structure has reached the stage of obsolescence, that is, it is a need for the government, it is a need for the people, the dwellers, to relocate to another environment and put in place some social infrastructure facilities for them to live comfortable.
Okay, Tamplana Ogunwale Adibayo, I'm also looking at it from this direction. Don't you also think that our population is also one of the factors, leading to the congestion we're talking about? For example, Lagos State, we have a population of about 20 million people. So, is it high time we started talking about? Is it not high time we started talking about population control?
Very good of you. I really appreciate, in aspect of planning, population needs to be considered as well. But when we talk about population, we need to consider what they call relocation of facilities. That is a concept to use to discongest a populated environment. That is siting an industry in another environment so that development can move towards that direction. And it will help us to contain this high spread of diseases. Looking at COVID-19, COVID-19 is a problem that we are having as a result of congested environment. And the best way the state government or individual himself, we have to move away from there by providing some social infrastructure facilities to put in place in another locality so that people can migrate to the environment.
So post-COVID-19, what should we be expecting?
Post-COVID-19, number one, as a town planner, recommendation to be given to the state government is reposition the state sustainable development. What did I mean by that? Looking at what is happening now, we have three ministries that needs to be on ground. The Ministry of Environment, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Urban and Physical Planning. They should work together as a team in order to streamline what the spread of these diseases. Because I talk about 1919, then about 4,000 were killed as a result of pandemic in Lagos. In Ogun State, about 3,000 were killed. About 69,000 were killed in Ogofa. That is closer to Calabar, because they migrate. The people easily migrate. But when there is lockdown, this Ministry of Health, Environment and Town Planning needs to move out in masses. Number one, to curb illegal structure. Number two, to look at what the environment that we're talking about, how would they be able to discongest them, providing some mechanism for them to use. That's my own suggestion.
Anyway, town planner Adebayo, we might not be able to exhaust all that probably you might offer us. You have given one valid recommendation here that I want to believe that the people in government are actually listening, that three critical ministries are important to work together, because cutting the spread, the line of spread of COVID is important, and that's through some rejig in the urban environment and all of that. Well, we would still have another opportunity to talk more about this topic. Time will not really allow us to have much of you today, because it's a full house that we are having, and you just have to take the little time we have. But your last word before we allow you to.
As a town planner, I have a lot to talk about COVID-19, but since time cannot permit us,
Yeah, we still have another
still
time.
have
Don't worry.
so no problem about that. But my own advice to the public is, number one, try to consider, I call it PAP, P-A-P, avoid gathering of people. Number two, try as much as possible to wash your hand daily, even when you go out. Number three, all your domestic use, try to wash them anytime you want to make use of them. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Town Planner Ogunwole Adebayo is a consultant in town planning. We thank you for being on the program today. All right, we'll be taking a short break, and when we come back, we come with another set of guests on the program today. Don't also forget that whether pandemic or no pandemic, today is Good Friday.
Yes.
All right, we'll be back.
Thank you very much.
The Ogun State Governor, Prince Dakwa Abiodun, is ensuring that the citizens of the state are kept safe and healthy. He has announced that the lockdown of the state will be a total one from Saturday 4th of April to 7 a.m. on Tuesday 7th of April 2020. The lockdown will be suspended between 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Tuesday 7th of April 2020 to allow for essential business activities. This 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. suspension window will be observed also on Thursday and Saturday and every other day. During this period, essential personnel such as health workers, security, fire, petroleum products, food producers and distributors will have limited movement to perform their duties. Fumigation of public and marketplaces will be carried out during this period. Remember, stay at home, stay safe.
Plenty package, why you can't still they manage? Why you the stress, why you the worry? Are you late, oh yeah? You got everything you need.
You can choose to manage everything else, but not your data. Get more out of life with the new Airtel data plan.